Hello, good evening viewers, and welcome again to our family program, The Living Room, right here on Equa TV International. Today we'll be talking on something that many of us seem to neglect and is very important in the development of our children, and that is how to deal with our children's results when they come home. My name is Amaka Ocheke, and on the set today with me are my usual favorite people. Uncle Jerry Farouk. Reverend Jerry Farouk is here with us. He's very busy, but today he was able to make time to be here with us. Uncle Jerry, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Hello,
Mrs. Ibi Namo, our ever-present educationist. Ibi, you're welcome.
Good evening, viewers.
Yes, and my auntie, Professor Teresa Madu.
Amakasko.
You're welcome. And we hope to do justice to this discussion so that at the end of the day, parents will be able to know what to do with their children's results when the results come. Before we go back to school, school is about to start. So I'll start with you, IB. You are the teacher, educationist. So when results come, what do we see? I think we talked about some of it last time, but what is it that is presented to parents? What do we see? Let's look at the third term results.
Okay, the third term results usually come with like 2 sheets. There's the third term result, and then there's a cumulative result from first, second term, and third term. And you will have all that the children have done within those 3 terms, and then you will have the class average for the 3 terms. Then you will have, okay, maybe the position for the children, for schools that do positioning. And then you will also have the backflip where you have their character and behaviors in school ticked out by the teachers. That is what you see in a real result.
Okay. Then for the third term result, we would also see tests.
Yeah, usually there is assignments. There's a column for assignment, there's a column for test, and there's a column for exams.
My children could even have column for notes.
Yeah. So that means they score the notes.
They score notes.
Yeah,
they score notes.
So you have columns for all of this, and then it has to go down to 100 because the cumulative result is over 100.
And then they also have the highest score in the class and the lowest score in the class and the class average for every subject.
Every subject has a class average. Then there is the total class average too that brings out the first, second, third, and other positions.
Okay, totally.
So, yes.
Okay, so what is that supposed to help us do?
It's supposed to help you check the strength of your child, the weakness of your child, and some of the subjects area where the child is good and the subject area where the child is struggling. All of those are what you will see in the results.
Okay. So, Auntie Madu, let's get to you. So now, parent, you know now you don't parent, you're doing grandparents.
I'm
so
parenting.
So you've seen many results. So now when the results come, what do you do?
And I think
either you collect the result or the child comes home with the result.
What choice do you have? The result is coming.
Yeah, it has come.
Because attached with the result is also the school fees schedule for next.
Yes, so it's part of it.
That's the one they usually show the They don't show the rest.
The result. But the results will encourage you to pay the school fees now.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do
and I think they also specify the position out of the total
number
in the class so that you know whether this person's performance dipped overall or improved substantially in regards to the number of people in the class. And what I want to look at is the subject by subject. If these children are in the elementary school, all the courses are compulsory. It's not optional. It's as beginning to get into GS 1 to 3 that some courses are optional. So you will see a dash indicating that this was not offered.
Okay.
But what is of interest to me is what the total that the child scored is saying relative to what he or she did in the previous term. that tells us whether on a subject by subject basis this person's performance is declining or improving.
or has remained the same.
Fairly the same, and it usually is indicative of their strengths. You will see that a child who is good in math is consistently scoring higher, even if it's not a linear performance. At least the person is improving.
Doing well.
So that would tell you outrightly whether this is a science strengthened person or maybe a humanities strong person, because people who are strong in the humanities, you will see that they are English, their literature in English, and all the other art subjects, they tend to do very well in them. This would tell, but we hope that before JS3, a child is striving to do averagely well on all of them, because we really don't know at that point whether they are going to be science or humanities or arts, as the case might be.
But even despite the fact that they may decide to fall for either science or arts or whatever it is, no knowledge is wasted. Everything you learn has a way of coming to be useful sometime, somewhere in life. So I think they should learn to take everything seriously, even if you are not going to follow up on it long term.
But you see, that's foundational. Many sessions back, when we had encouraged parents to help children have a schedule for tackling homework, so that they are not doing only their favorite subject, but it's cutting across all of that. It's parents that can help a child say, let me see your timetable. What's your timetable for reading? If you don't do that, they will easily gravitate towards the subjects that are easier for them. And the subjects that are harder for them will get neglected, except they must be done.
You know, sometimes it's not even that the subjects are harder. It is who the teachers are that are handling some of these subjects. Today, I have maths phobia, and I know it was because of my school, because we never had a maths teacher. So I grew up, whenever I see calculation, I just get migraine immediately. So till today, even to handle money, I get...
I can be your accountant.
So anything to do with adding 2 plus 2, I just feel that it is a waste of time. It is going to disturb my brain. But when I got into the university and I had to do statistics, I had to do
research.
That's why I say everything becomes useful sometime.
You know, what I did was cram and give them. I crammed everything, I gave it to them, I left.
Oh my!
That's why today, if you ask me, how did you do your statistics, I don't know. Because I had maths phobia from primary school. Even the secondary school, I still had problem. We had no good maths teachers. So sometimes, if you don't check as a parent, you will not know what the real problem is. It's when you start checking that you will know that maybe your child doesn't really have a problem in maths. It's probably
from the
school or the way the teachers are teaching, or English.
So we're already bringing out the things you pick up from looking at the results when you look. Uncle Jerry, you too, you are grandfather level, so you are a veteran in checking results. Though you said it's the school fees they disturb you for.
Yeah, that's what they usually tell us. I think they have covered the major areas of checking results. Let me go to the behavioral part. You know, teachers will always notice, you know, the behavior of the child, and will then make the comment. And many of them will say, yeah, he's good in this, but he needs to improve upon this and that. So that's an area too that we should look at. They are not going to school just to learn how to read and write. Yes, they are supposed to improve on their social interaction with their schoolmates and classmates. They are also supposed to behave well as citizens. They are going to leave school someday and work with people. So they should learn from that early age how to relate well. So if it's a bully, for example, and the teacher says it, you need to look at that and know what to do with your child. in that area of character. It's not just head knowledge. There is that need for the child to be rounded.
Well-rounded.
Yeah, rounded.
So
in,
the
both
results should be
academics.
looked at holistically.
Holistically, yeah.
So what we're saying now for parents watching us is that when the results come, please take time to look at these results step by step, sector by sector, subject by subject. Because I see that sometimes all parents do is, what was the position? He came first, fine, well done. Or he came 10th. Oh, why did you come 10th? Why couldn't you have come first? And you scold and it's over. But if you take time to look at the results, you will see, you try and find out why the child isn't doing so well. Or sometimes everybody in the class may be doing very well. Somebody just has to come last. Everybody can't come first. So it's possible to have a class where everybody scores over 70, but somebody comes last. So you need to take time to look at all these things one by one. Look at the character of the child, the behavior of the child, and then we don't stop there. We found out these things, then we move forward. Now let's start with the character before we go back to the subject.
I want to interrupt you. Ivy said she had a phobia for maths, or some children will have a phobia for another subject.
Yeah.
And parents are out there wondering, well, how do I even know that my child has a phobia? Because if, for example, she had a phobia for maths and she didn't do well in maths, but her overall average is good and she's coming third, fourth, fifth. Sometimes parents don't really know that this person has a phobia.
Yeah.
So how can parents know that this person has a phobia? We should address that. Like I had a phobia, but it was overcome later by somebody who simply challenged me. And the challenge was from a moral point of view, not even from the mathematical point of view. By the time I was getting to Form 4 in the secondary school, my math teacher had been the same teacher from Form 1. One day we had a conversation. She said, "You must hate me terribly." And I'm like, "How?" "I don't hate you." She said, "But you've not passed math. Year 1, year 2, you've not passed math. And you are brilliant enough to come third, fourth in class. You must be smart. What's the problem?" And I didn't have a genuine, just like Ivy, I said, from primary, so I've never done well. She said, "But if you liked me, you will probably make an effort." It was that wanting to make the effort that led me to begin to grasp maths and to do something. And parents have no idea that a child has that phobia and it can be overcome. But I'm also saying that if there are parents out there, if you see consistently that a child is not doing well in a subject, since we are educated, it's time to begin to look for help.
And I think looking for help starts with finding out why.
Yeah.
So you need to have a conversation with the child.
You need to know what the real problem is.
So you need to talk with
the
your
problem
child.
may not even be with the teacher. The problem may be with the child. The problem may even be that there is somebody bullying the child in class, in that subject area. So you need to really interact with the child. What's wrong with your maths? What is happening? How come you know? And whatever the child tells you, don't take it. Don't wish it away and say, your mates are doing well, all this, that you don't want to do well, that's it. He or she will hold it and it will continue.
But generally, for numeric subjects, if children are not naturally inclined, they also have to overcome mental laziness. Because if you are not numeric, then it means that you need to apply yourself to be able to pass.
And that's even
maths is not hard,
for anything that you are not inclined to generally. Anything you are not inclined to generally, you need to overcome mental laziness to be able to apply yourself to that subject. So we need to talk with our kids and find out what the issues are and listen. It's not just to talk, but listen to what they have to say. And of course, from what we have discussed in the past, you must have created an enabling environment where your children can open up to you and tell you what the issues are. And then we now address the issues one after the other based on what the child has said. Okay, I think some things have already come up from what we have said. But what can you do? Your child says, like sometimes my children say, "I just don't understand it." I'm like, "What does that mean, please?" "I don't understand it." "Is the teacher bad?" "No, I just don't understand it." I've read it, I don't understand it. So what do we do?
Let me speak from my own children's perspective. Because I'm an academic, I knew that minimally, children need to look at the questions at the end of every chapter. Are they able to attempt them? You know, that's just simple. Whatever the subject is, you ask them, they've not attempted the questions at the end of the chapter. And these books nowadays, they are so illustrative.
Yeah.
There are questions at the end of the
Every
chapter.
chapter.
There are review questions at the end of the sections of every. So that's where we would start. I would challenge my children, and apart from the worked examples, they didn't do any other examples. So parents must make sure that children do extra things and reward them for doing. And these books are so easy now that the worked answers are at the back of the textbook. So you can always check up on it, even if you are not
Inclined.
if you are not a professional in that area.
Yeah.
But more seriously, there are aids now. Like when I found out that not only was my niece not inclined to math, she was also lazy. I got her an online material. I think the flash drive was just maybe like 5,000 naira, but it had video worked examples with a voice that went with it. So that goes beyond just the textbook. So there was a video working of it. You are seeing how it's being worked. Then you can go back and rework and Study Lab, for example, covers the curriculum in math all the way to JAMB. So there's help.
Okay, so parents need to look for help, and it's there, it's available. But if you don't look for it, you're not going to get it.
Okay, looking for help also reminds me to tell parents that if after hearing all that we have said you should do, you are still unable to grasp what you need to do for one reason or the other, please seek for help. Get your neighbor, get somebody from the church, somebody who knows what and knows the child, and the child can feel comfortable with them. Let them help you do that, and let the child know that you are doing this in his best interest. I'm not able to do this, but I need to find out this, and I'm going to ask Uncle A to please help do this. Please cooperate with him and let him help you, or let Auntie B do that for you, so that you don't miss out because you are unable to do. Don't give up by saying, well, I don't know anything about their schoolwork and therefore I cannot help. Let's get help from
other
family,
people, family,
friends,
our church members,
right.
Brethren. We're supposed to support one another. So there's always somebody around who can help, even when we don't know.
I think they can also leave comments on our Facebook page.
Facebook page.
If there is any resourcing that they want, we can respond to that too.
Right.
Okay. So once we've identified what the problem is, we try to find ways to help them in that particular subject or the different subjects where they have issues. Either online help, can get lesson teachers, or their siblings too can also help us. Or if you, the parent, you are good in that, you could also chip in and help the child. But always have an enabling environment where that child can learn. If you are critical and always shouting.
But we must make the time for them to commit to schoolwork. Particularly children who are going from home to school. Parents need to find the time where they actually commit themselves to schoolwork.
Yeah, so parents must make time. We've said it in the past that you can't raise children without making time. You must be available and hands-on. Okay, let's look at the other aspects of the results. The psychomotor thing, the social skills. So you've looked at that, and that, as Uncle said, that's an area where parents shouldn't, don't ignore that area and just say, okay, say they must make comments, let them make comments, let's go. You must look at it and see how your child is viewed from other eyes aside from you. Because sometimes as a parent, you may not always be very objective in viewing your child. Okay, we've seen this. What can we do? We see that, for example, they say the child is not social, he's antisocial. He doesn't. So what can we do?
I think, like I once said on this program, that you need to confirm from the teachers whether the teacher actually made that comment because
Is what he saw.
is what he or she saw. Because I've had parents come to my office and say, the teacher said this and this about my son, and I don't understand it because I told him, I don't see this boy like this. Please, I need the teacher to help me clarify these things. And sometimes when you now approach the teacher, you find out that she has plenty workload, so she has finished everything. She just turned the
Copy and
back
paste.
and just tick, 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 tick.
Okay.
I don't know
Yes.
why Ivy is always
Because I've been in the
insinuating that it's like that,
No,
and
I'm
that
not
therefore we
saying
shouldn't
it's
take
like-
the comments.
No,
What she's saying is that you need to come. You need to talk
you
with
need
the
to be
teachers.
sure that that is what it is.
So sometimes you need to have a conversation
Yes,
with the
with the
teacher.
teachers to be sure that that is what it is before you start looking for help, so that you don't find help where you don't need it. A child is sociable and the teacher says it's not sociable. You now make the child look like, what have I done wrong, you know? So when you are sure that the child is not sociable, it's time to go to work. You sit the child down and try to talk with the child. Why don't you make friends? It's not time to shout on the child and make him feel that, okay, he or she is bad. But to sit with the child and say, okay, let's talk. What is the problem? Why don't you like making friends? What is really wrong? Is it that your classmates are not forthcoming? Is there a bully? All of those things can be part of the reason why the child, we think that the child is not sociable. So you need to find out from the teacher, then from the child, what is causing the problem, so that you can encourage them to begin.
But
to
if parents are also not sociable, I don't think you should expect your child to be sociable. Okay, Uncle, what can you do? You find that, like this, not being sociable, what can we do? Is the child doesn't talk to anybody. Because in life, you can't run life alone, really. You need to be somebody who can socialize with people, talk to people. That's how we do life.
Well, you mentioned it earlier. We have to first create the enabling environment for the child to feel free to tell you really what is going on in their life. So that is the first point of call, to make it easy for the child to be able to discuss these issues with you, and let them know that you are available to help them with this problem, whatever it is, so that they can do better in what has been said about them in school. Sometimes children tell us what has happened to them, and we say, no, that cannot be true. And the moment you say something like that, tomorrow they will not tell you anything anymore, because you dismissed that first one as if, I told you and you said no, it's not possible. Especially when it comes to, moral issues with teachers and students, and the child tells you this and you say no, the teacher cannot do that. So when something else comes up tomorrow, they will keep quiet because you will not believe them. So the first thing to do is to create that environment that they know that once they tell you, you will listen and you will be able to draw them out and let them tell you more, so that you will know exactly where to help them.
Yeah, I think that discussion, getting them to talk to you, is very important. I remember one of my kids, he was having a birthday, and I asked to invite all classmates. So I'm not inviting them. I'm like, why? He said, because when they have their own, they didn't invite me. Or when they had theirs, they didn't invite me. So we had to have that conversation to be like Jesus. You don't invite those who will invite you, and on and on and on, before he finally agreed to just invite his classmates. I said, you don't do to them. You are different. You just need to behave like Christ. And if Jesus were in your shoes, what would he do? So invite everybody.
So I'm not in this age category anymore, but parents are are they making enough time to go to the opportunities the school offers for you so that you interact with the teacher and the child in the class situation?
So open day.
It can be very revealing,
Yeah.
because you are going there and then you notice that your child is sitting in a corner, the child is not at ease. Particularly when you are discussing with the teacher on one-on-one why this performance is like this. You know, you put all your ears and your eyes out and observe. This can tell us a lot of things. So where parents are sending reps to school on open days,
young elder brothers.
you are losing quite some learning opportunity about this child or not. And then remember, we had earlier alluded to the fact that just like adults have personalities, children also have personalities. There are those who are expressive, there are those who are more reserved. So if we're talking about a child who is fairly reserved and you are saying that he should be more sociable,
You have problems.
we are not acknowledging
That people are different.
provided he or she is not doing something bad on account of the quietness. I think we need to give some space so that the people are who they are, but at least the minimal interactions that they will have,
they
should have.
And same thing if they say the child is disruptive, or you know, you need to find out why the child is like that. You must have that conversation. They say he's a bully, he disrupts the class, he makes a lot of noise. People like me, our names are always on the list of noise makers.
And I think for a child to be sociable, like you mentioned, you know, you do birthday in the house and you invite friends. There are houses where, for them, why are you doing birthday? A father told me, what birthday for what? You know, you don't let the child know that he or she can interact with other children in their house. The child will not learn to interact with children outside, because you have to, like Uncle kept saying, you create an enabling environment from home first. It's not just in the school. Let the child learn to begin to interact with his siblings, with his neighbors, so that when he or she goes to school, interacting with other children will be a lot easier. Even though there is the temperament in, but all-out interaction will always be there.
Okay, we're supposed to go on break. So, break time.
We've not even tackled university.
No, we will come back. After break, we'll come back. So we need to go on break, and then viewers, when we come back, we've been talking about handling your children's school results. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation here with Professor Theresa Amadu, Mrs. Ibi Namo, Reverend Jerry Farouk. We'll continue talking about how to handle our children's results. And then our phone numbers will show up on the screen when we come back. And you can also post your comments on our Facebook page so that we could respond to you, if not today, later. So we'll be right back after the break. Welcome back from the break, viewers. We've been talking about dealing with our children's school results, and we've talked about the fact that we need to look at the book part, the academic part, and also the behavioral part, and speak to each aspects, so that the aim is to make sure that our children improve, our children get better, and develop holistically, even in their educational journey. So I've been here with Professor Teresa Madu, Mrs. I.B. Namo, Reverend Jerry Farouk, talking about this issue. So before we move on to I want to say, okay, when you have done all this with the child, you've had all the discussions and all that, what do you finally do? Reward system. What do we do?
Acknowledge where they have done well.
Yes.
Appreciate them for it.
And everybody must have done well
Oh
somewhere.
yes,
It
there
can't
must
be
be
bad.
something.
Yeah.
It can be bad
Yes.
all through. Start with that. Start with saying, I'm very impressed that your English results are good, and I've also noticed your behavior is good. So keep that up. But you know, you also noticed that this other part has some challenges. We are willing to help you improve on those. Whatever it is that you need, let us know so we can help you and help you to get better in these areas, because you need to get all of these together so that you are rounded in your knowledge and your schooling. And so let them know that as much as you appreciate the areas that they have done well, you are also concerned about the areas that
Where they haven't
need
done
to
as well.
haven't done well. But always start by appreciating
What they have done well.
done well. That gives them the confidence that you are not there just to
Wield the
Cane
stick.
them.
to cane them.
So that's, to be able to do that, that means parents, if you're very upset,
That's not the day to.
that's not the day to talk about these
about
results. You need to calm down
Mm.
to be able to have a sane conversation with the children. So what do you think?
Reward system. Handshake is a reward. Okay, like she said, they took her to
Kano
she told us
International
earlier.
International Airport. You see,
And we drank Fanta.
they don't need something big,
Big, no.
especially the ones in the primary school.
Exactly.
They don't need you to go and break a bank for them, just something small to reward them. And please, when you are rewarding, don't separate the children. Maybe you have 3 children and you want to reward, say, this person, you came first, so you are carrying all the reward. The other ones are, you may kill their morale completely. So look for a place where they too have done something small, and even if it's a handshake, give it to
Encourage
them.
them. Okay, okay.
But I would step a bit backwards, and at the beginning of the term, we set targets. We say,
Okay.
you know, you have done this, but I'm looking forward to seeing the A's in this and this and this. And then that's when you begin the promise making and say, I promise you,
Okay.
if this your result is like this, we're going to do this. Because then the children talk about it all the time. Whether it's going to be 200 naira or what, you know, there's something to look forward to. And when you are correcting them, you are, at this rate, are we going to get the prize? So they are gingered up again. So at that point, when a reward comes, you know it's earned, it's deserved, and it motivates them. But I think that schools are better now than when my children went to school. Because then the competition was so stiff, you had to be either first or second or third. And then the really smart children, we get prizes in all the subjects. And then the other child doesn't get the prizes. So
You didn't do
parent-
well now.
no,
No.
but it's just that somebody had to get all the prizes.
Exactly.
But if my child got a 70 in a subject, but didn't get an 80, which is essentially still the A, what I did with the ones that were extremely jealous was that, was it not notebook they gave the other ones? So which
Buy a
one?
notebook.
No, we had our own prizes, and then we organized our own award ceremony in the house where we
beautiful,
awarded
yeah.
that.
Oh,
So,
nice.
so they went back to school, even though they didn't get the school's notebooks, they got the parents' notebooks, because we looked at it, you got a 70, but you just didn't get the 80.
Because you weren't the best, maybe. in the
But
class.
you did
But you did
extremely
you did
well. So parents can look at how they can make a reward. And usually our rewards were things that associated with school,
School.
in such a way that when they went back to school, they carry the rewards with them, whether it was a colored pencil with the eraser in several colors, you know, those kind of things.
Oh, nice.
Okay, yeah,
So we must
so-
find a way to encourage the children. Everybody has done well somewhere.
Yeah.
So look for it and encourage the child, reward the child for doing well so that you can now talk about the areas where they haven't done well. I think they say it's called the sandwich method. You start with where they have done well before you go to where they have
I've
done
not done
badly.
well and finish with what they have
Yes,
done well.
so that the person is more receptive, the child is more receptive to corrections, are willing to talk, to express why or what challenges he or she may have had at that in that subject or in that area, so that we can know how to remedy it and help the child get better. Okay, let's move on. We've talked about these results, but there's an area of results where many parents seem to be kind of not very involved and doing all that they're supposed to do, and that's the result of our undergraduates in the university.
Or polytechnics or
Polytechnic, in
colleges
higher
of
institutions,
education.
yes. Our children, our wards in higher institutions. So first of all, how, because many schools don't seem to release results as parents say, or as students tell us. Is it true that results are not released? If that is so, how do we find their results to know how they are doing in school? Because I think it's very disheartening that your child is supposed to be in final year, then you find out that since 200 level, he's been out of school. So let's start with you. You've done
Yeah, the one in
DVC, you've
the-
sat in for the VC, so you know how they do the things in higher institutions. So what can parents do?
But truth be told, public universities are not publishing results as when due. Because with these botched calendars, I think universities are struggling with how to bring out results in a timely manner that meets the requirements of their various universities and still reopen. But typically, a child will not register for another year until they know what the result is like. But before we have the overall annual result, there's a semester by semester result which a child or a student has access to. As a parent, I go after the children. I ask them, what was your performance subject by subject at the end of the semester? When I'm not very comfortable, I ask, may I know who your advisor is? Because advisors give students their numbers. Because if your child is in trouble, you need to reach somebody. And often it is the student advisor for that class. You ought to know who the student advisor is. And if genuinely the results were not displayed at the end of first semester, we wouldn't have gone into the second semester. But parents who don't have access to that, except the school has a dashboard like your own son's own. But where there's a dashboard, do parents even have a pin? Can they go to the dashboard and see for themselves?
They're supposed to have a pin.
They're supposed
The
to have a
problem is
pin.
that parents won't go.
I won't ask.
Wow. So parents, what we're raising here is the fact that the fact that your child is in a higher institution, he's still your child.
Yes.
There's child attached to that person. So he still needs supervision and care. So you won't say, oh, he's gone to the Polytechnic or the College of Education. No need to ask, we just wait for graduation date. No, your child may come out with a result you won't like or may not even graduate at all. So you must be interested in what is going on and you have to find out.
You have to find out.
You have to find
And
out.
sometimes they are not, the children are not forthcoming in courses that they didn't do well.
So what do you do?
You will find a way. Here is how I found my nephew had gotten to year 2 and was still carrying over Maths 101. And I'm like, an engineering student, how can we say that you failed Maths 101? And it was until 300 level that he was able to clear it. So I said, no, I'm going to go see your course coordinator. And I walked to the faculty. I wasn't an important person at that time, but I went to the faculty and said, I'm this person's guardian. And I can't understand why there's no result for math. Then we now discovered that he had the carryover from 100 level, didn't pass it in 200 level, we're now in 300 level. So it was an engagement between me and him. And I said, if you don't pass it, there's no school fees for next year. You know, there's carrot and stick that you can apply to what is important to each child. So the school permits us to go and know who is directly in charge of your some parents take a child to school, just drop him in front of the hostel, do
And
not
leave.
know the hostel room number, they don't know
the
they don't know the roommates to that
Roommates.
class, to their ward. You have to take a greater interest than that. Don't just assume that because they're in the university. They know everything.
Yeah.
But let me play
go to the head of
devil's
department.
advocate for some parents. You are a parent in Lagos. Your child is in University of Jos, and you are unable to come to the university all the time. I mean,
You
at
can
one
make a
time
phone
you can
call.
come.
Sir,
Just a phone
I'm
call,
a level
sir.
coordinator for students. I know that there are some parents who call me. They don't
Okay.
live in Jos, but they call
They
me.
call.
Okay.
When my son entered this NFI, the day he went to finalize his registration, I went with him. When we finished everything, I said, I want to see, do you have a school counselor? He said, yes. I said, I want to see her. I went to her office. I said, I'm this person's parent. Please, if there's any problem, I want you to
Let me know.
know. She said, okay. I collected her number. Now I send her a text once in a while. I'm so parent. How is he doing in school? You know, it's just that parents just feel he's a big boy now. He's in the university, and you just forget about it. It doesn't matter. Even if my sister's children were in the UK, she called their advisors. They sent her information concerning her children. The children didn't even know. So there's a way. Things are easier now with phones. There's a way you can reach out. As level coordinators, I told my students, give your parents my number. I'm open to your parents. And I don't think there's any level coordinator who will say, I don't want to speak to parents.
No.
No.
People
They speak to parents. So when the parent is when you are if you are a parent, you have a child in the university, look for the level coordinator, because usually a level coordinator follows the child from 100 level till
All the way to
graduation.
graduation.
The same level coordinator, except there's a problem that leads to change, maybe transfer or death. Or if
So one
not,
particular person follows that
that's from start to
graduation.
finish. So parents, look for the level coordinator of your children. Become friends with them. Call them. It's not to induce them to pass your child. No. Find out, how is my child doing? This so person is my son. I've had parents come to my office. I will just see somebody say, I'm so person's son, mother. Please, I came to see, how is my son doing? I talk with them. So there is parents should not say, no, we don't have access to them, we are too far. We have access to them if we make deliberate efforts.
Uncle Jerry, do you know that some students would refuse to know the name of their
Coordinator, yes.
Would refuse to know the name of their head of department.
Yes.
They know that they have a dean. They somehow
know
don't know
anybody's
who
name.
they. So who do you turn to when you are in trouble?
Exactly.
So I think parents should be more
must-
deliberate.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need to know who these people
Yeah,
are, so
you need
that
to be-
we get
you
to
So
need
if
to
the
be-
child is not forthcoming in those areas, you now
Yeah,
need to
all
call
these
the
people,
yeah.
yes.
Like my son in the university, the departmental secretary, I have her number. Coordinator, their level coordinator, I have his number. Even turns out that I taught two of his brothers.
Oh.
So I know the family relatively well. So I have numbers and I call from time to time, aside from the fact that they have a parent portal. So I think parents should be interested in knowing what their children are doing and how they are performing, and if they have challenges, to find out what and why these
And
challenges.
do you know that sometimes these coordinators can be so ingenious that they save a child from himself. I was following up on a girl in another faculty, and of course, I don't know enough about the faculty. By the time we got to the coordinator, it was a coordinator who was telling us that this person has problems from the previous year. She had told us that she was okay, and we believed her. But the coordinator followed through, found out, because if, for example, the student is taking courses from other faculties, other departments, we must still follow through to know what the performance is like. This coordinator saved the mother from this child, because she was saying, at the rate this girl is going, she will
Going to
not
have
take the first
problems.
semester results. She will not take the first semester exams. So parents, please, if your child knows that you are going to hold them accountable, they themselves will sit up.
They will sit up. Like when I
Yes.
was head of department in my department, part of one of the criteria I put in for registration in my department, you put, aside from other things, you write your name, give me your phone number, your parents. In short, I said, I want your father's phone number because fathers are serious. Mothers, we like to do
can be
pepe
quiet,
with children.
yes,
Unless your father is late, you put your parents' phone number, fathers preferably, and their names, and then other things for registration. And once you misbehave, you know your father will hear from me. So sometimes I'm like, you just pick your phone, call your father here. I'm here. I want to talk to your father. Ma, we're sorry. We won't do it again. Please don't call my father. Don't. And after that incident, you see they behave themselves.
They get straightened up.
Yeah. So when children know that parents will hear what is going on in school, most people will sit up, unless it's a hardened, hardened criminal or something. But the average child will sit up.
Yes, none of my children, okay, except at Ove now that schools in church, all of them schooled outside. Even the girl that stayed with us. My husband has contact of every
Your husband is an ASU person, and he knows
that works with the children. So he follows them. So they know that if they don't give him result, he will get it somehow.
But you know, parents are probably looking for an official transcript from the university. Even if that is not it, just ask the child to write subject by subject. What did they score? Did they get an A here, a B here, a C there? That's all you need to be able to gauge where they are at. You know.
And then when the results come, the same thing we even discussed, you do like
check,
you've done with the
yes.
younger children to
Yeah.
find out what went wrong, what could have been done better. You know, did you give enough hours to studying? Are you having challenges?
You have people harassing you in school.
How many hours they are logging into the library?
Yes. So you need to ask parents. You need to ask those questions. We're laughing. They are warning us to wrap up. Okay. So parents, what we're saying, parents, is that you just need to be hands-on in this thing. Don't say your children are in the university or in the higher institution, so they are big boys and girls, and you just let them go. You'll be surprised. You do higher institution for 10 years because you haven't paid attention to what should be paid attention to.
Exactly.
So let's get involved. Let's find out what is going on, where they are not doing well. Let's find out what the problems are. Let's advise accordingly and help them come up with something. Some don't even have a timetable.
Ask them
What
to
they are
bring
supposed
the
to do.
results, the receipts for the school fees they have paid.
That's another thing.
Ask them to bring the
must see the
receipt of school fees.
And then
Very
photocopy
important.
of their course registration form.
Exactly.
We must see those things. So parents, like what Uncle Jerry had also said before, if you don't know what to do, you are not aware or you don't understand the university system, there's somebody who can help you. You have a church member who works in the university, you have a friend who works in the university or knows about how the university runs.
Because
Ask
some
them.
children lie to their parents.
Yes, some children
so
lie.
you need to ask people around. How
Yeah.
does university system
So you need to
work?
ask and find out, or else you may have a bad outcome at the end of the day. Before the program started, I told them of somebody who I know who attended a child's convocation. She was there. They took pictures with convocation gown and everything, and it turns out that child didn't graduate. So what's that? So children too can be very smart and try to play pranks. But we're older than them. They say what an adult sees standing up, a child from
Sitting
the
down, not even standing
yes.
up.
So we adults must be wise and must move with the age. They said the bed, they say, is it the bed says, since men have learned to shoot without missing, he too has learned to fly without perishing. So parents, we must move with times because these children must turn out well by fire, by force. But of course, with all this we're doing, we must back it up with prayer.
Exactly.
We must pray.
Exactly.
We must pray.
Exactly.
Parents, you must pray. You can't say, woe to him that sits at ease in Zion, right?
Yes, so,
we must pray. We must pray for these children until they become all that God wants them to be.
And begin to pray for themselves
Yes,
and
and
others.
their children, yes. So last words, Auntie Madu, as we wrap
Don't
up.
be laid back. Don't be laid back about your child in the university. In fact, match them 1 for 1.
Yeah, so parents, don't be laid back. Or as children of now, as they say, parents, don't carry last. Be up and about.
Look for help.
look for help when you
Yes,
need it,
when
or
you
if you
need
don't know
it,
what to do,
ask
look
questions,
Yes, ask
yes.
questions.
In everything, pray.
Pray without ceasing. So parents, we've tried to bring out issues to help us assess our children's results so that we can help them do well in school and come out with the kind of results and outcomes that we desire, right from primary school, secondary school, and even onto the university. So let's not be caught napping. Let's not say we are not aware. We've told you, and if you need help, as we've said, seek for help. There is always help, and let's continue to pray. So till come again your way next week, this is The Living Room and on Equa TV saying, God bless us all, and let's continue to live and shine for Jesus. Amaka Ocheke and the rest of the crew say bye and God bless.
One of Equa Television's purpose of being alive is to fulfill the Equa Executive's 4-point agenda of connecting Equa to God, Equa to Equa, Equa to the world, and mobilizing resources for the advancement of the gospel through evangelism, missions, and the kingdom's work, generally through Equa. Equa Television International is live 24/7, preaching the gospel of salvation and truth to the world. Pray for Equa TV, support Equa TV, be part of Equa TV. Keep watching Equa Television International, the winning station. Equa TV International, a lifestyle Christian television station, driving a mandate of reaching the world with the gospel of Christ through an all-inclusive approach in our content generation, production, and broadcasting of same. Enjoy Christian movies and drama, live events, talk shows and interviews, reality TV, kiddies shows, music videos, documentaries, relationships, family, arts and entertainment, politics, government, current affairs, business and finance,